Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for all being prompt this morning and being on time. Sorry we weren't able to start right on time, but these things happen. As I told you to close yesterday, the defendant is not required to put on a defense if he doesn't choose to, but in this case I'm being told the defense has opted to put on a defense, and my understanding is that the first witness that they're going to call is the defendant himself, and so we are ready to proceed. Counsel, you may inquire.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Could you swear Jason in full,
my goodness.
please?
You're right. Can you raise your right hand? You swear that any testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury. I do. You may be seated, and just try to keep your voice up so everyone can hear you.
Yes, Your Honor. Can everybody hear me? Thank you.
First, let me get through some formalities here. Could you state your name and spell your last name for the jury, please?
My name is Jason Levesque, Levesque.
And you just heard the judge explain that, of course, we don't have the burden to put on any evidence.
Yes.
Are you freely, voluntarily, wanting to testify for this jury today?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask you some background questions so the jury gets to know you a little bit. Where were you born?
I was born in Rochester, New Hampshire at Frisbee Memorial Hospital.
And have you lived in this area all your life?
All 45 years.
Who else lives in the Rochester area?
My daughter, she resides with me, and my two parents, they live downstairs at my house.
The jury went out on a view, you know that, you were with us, and your house is which number?
My house is number 41 Summer Street.
Okay, and just again for the record, could you describe it so everybody has a clear picture of what we're talking about?
As in the property?
Yeah.
My house was the one when we were coming from the traffic lights. It would be the first house that we viewed, with the front porch, with the steps, the driveways to the right-hand side. There's some landscaping out front. There's a fence that directly follows the right-hand side of my driveway, and there's a garage at the back.
And again, you stated that your daughter lives with you and your parents. And can you give us some position? Where would your parents be in that house if the jury's looking at it square?
If you're looking at the front of the house, it's a duplex, and my parents live downstairs. So they're getting older, so we put it that way. That way they don't have to deal with any stairs. And my daughter and I reside upstairs in the upstairs apartment.
Okay. And I guess there was a porch area there, steps that go up to the porch area of the house?
That is correct. The front entry is on the front of the house where there's a porch, and the front steps go up to the front door, which you can access both the upstairs and downstairs.
All right, so we're going to get to that positioning in a few minutes, but I just want to make it clear it's your parents that live right there, right basically on the street.
That's correct. Their bedroom is the front room of that downstairs apartment. Their beds are right there at the window.
Now, you mentioned your daughter. What's her name?
Her name is Kira.
And how old is she?
She is 20 years old.
Can you give us a little history with her? I take it you're a single father?
I am.
And, how long have you and Kara been a team?
I received sole custody of my daughter when she was approximately 16 years old. She's lived with me all her life. We've always lived together. However, there is some issues with her mother, and her mother has left the house, and I received sole custody of her, I believe, approximately 15 or 16. It was 2019.
And she's been with you exclusively since then?
Yes.
And, can you generally just tell the jury what kind of relationship you have with her?
Sorry. My daughter and I have a very close relationship ever since she was a young child. She would go out with me when I was doing heating. She would out call with me, or if we were plowing, she'd go plowing with me.
You okay?
Yeah. She used to operate the plow for me even when she was younger. She used to find great fun in that. As she got older, she started working. So she didn't want to drive. She had a little accident when she was learning how to drive, went through my parents' garage door at their previous house. So until she was 18, she didn't get a license. So I had to drive her back and forth to Rye every day for her job. Also, when she was in high school, she did an internship as a teacher at an elementary school in town. So I used to have to drive her there every day. Her and I were very close. Always have been.
Where did she go to school?
She went to elementary school at Chamberlain Street School in Rochester, then to Rochester Middle School. Then she graduated Spalding in, I believe it was 2 years ago. I think it was 2022. And then she moved on to Southern New Hampshire University. Right now she's taking a pause from college, but I believe she's enrolled to start at the University of Arkansas.
Very proud of her.
I am very proud of her. I'm sorry.
You talked about your neighbors a little bit, okay?
Okay.
The jury has heard a couple of folks, just two of them that live next door to you. I mean, did you have any kind of relationship with your neighbors of any significance?
Which ones?
Well, let's go through Kyle's daughter took the stand. You saw her.
I did, yes.
Did you know her or have any interaction with her ever before?
I did not know that there was a young female living there, no.
And again, how long have you lived in that house?
I lived in that house 20 years.
20 years.
Yep.
And then you saw, I think she's referred to as Kyle's girlfriend, the mother of the child. And you saw her testify as well.
That's correct.
Did you have any interaction with her?
I did not have any interaction. However, I did know that she did live there. I frequently saw her coming and going.
But not even a hello or anything like that?
No.
Now, I want to ask you about the other person that lived there, and that's Kyle himself. Did you have any kind of relationship with him?
Before that evening, I did have one interaction. That would be in sometime, probably October or November. In the fall, I was out front pressure washing my house, and a gentleman came out of that driveway, was running around, acting kind of crazy, looked at me and said, "You fucking rat, I'll kill you and your family."
Okay, let's hold on here a second. This is October, November of 2023, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you were in front of your house doing some chore.
Yes.
Had you had any kind of contact that would have elicited that kind of reaction from him prior to him coming over and confronting you?
No, I did not even know that he lived there. I'd only seen his girlfriend, or Angela, was the only person I'd ever seen coming and going from there.
And again, explain for the jury just what this guy did.
He was running around in his driveway very erratically, and said, "You fucking rat, I'm going to kill you and your family." It just kept moving back and forth. So at that point, I decided it was just best to go in the house and leave the situation, not to antagonize him or even engage with him, not knowing who he was or what was going on. I then went inside and told my parents, just keep the blinds closed on that side of the house. Hopefully he'll just leave us alone after that.
Right, so you went inside and you informed your folks of that.
That's correct.
And did something happen just shortly after that as well?
Later on that evening, I was outside working in my garage. I had exited the garage to go into the house, and he and another gentleman were walking by. He came into the driveway and said, "You fucking rat, I'm going to kill you and your family." At that time, I went back into the garage and closed the door to, again, not engage with him.
So, I mean, we've heard that, I mean, was that a threat towards you
Yes.
and your family?
Yes.
Nothing conditional about that?
No, sir.
And did you understand it as a threat?
I did.
And how did that impact you? How did that stay with you?
It made me nervous. At that point, after that, I installed some security lights, some security cameras. That way I could keep an eye on things, and just, I didn't know who he was or what it was with him that he didn't like me, but. I wanted to be more vigilant after that to make sure I was aware of my surroundings.
So after that, what did you do?
I installed some security cameras and some security motion lights, so if somebody comes on my property, it lights up at night so I can see there's somebody there.
Now, we pointed out some cameras at your place when the jury was taking a view. Were those some of the cameras you installed because of that event?
Yes, I installed 12 cameras, 2 1-terabyte hard drives. Each camera is covered by another camera, and every entry to the house is covered by a camera.
And that was triggered because of that content?
Yes, sir.
Did you also alter any behavior with regard to your daughter?
I did.
Can you explain that?
After that, my daughter, she works at the pizza place. She had been driving at this point. She comes home at night. She had been aware of the altercation. I was concerned, and she was concerned about coming in the front door, seeing as the property's right there. So she would call me when she was on her way home, and I'd meet her at the door and make sure, or go out to the car and make sure she got in the house safely.
So you basically were escorting her in after work?
That is correct.
She would call you in the driveway and you'd go down and get her?
She typically called me coming down Eastern Avenue, which is the road right there by the post office.
Okay. And then you'd meet her outside?
That's correct.
Okay, let me jump to, I'm actually going to jump to April 3rd. We've been hearing a lot about April 4th, but wow, but your day actually started April 3rd and it was continuous, right?
That is correct.
So why don't you explain to the jury about what time did you get up on April 3rd, the day before the shooting?
I woke up around, I believe, 8 o'clock. I had some breakfast. I was redoing my dining room, doing floor and painting. I wanted to try and get the painting done before I went to work. I knew that snow was coming. However, we had not got a time that we were supposed to start yet. So I pretty much took the day and I finished cutting in all the dining room and doing the painting around there. It was approximately 6 o'clock in the evening. I received a text from my boss saying, looks like start time is going to be 10 p.m. I'd like you to do what we call a sniffer route. Go around and start driving through the properties, seeing if there's snow accumulating on the ground, and seeing when we should start calling in other people to take care of those properties.
Okay, so between 8 and 6 in the evening on the 3rd, had you taken a nap or rested or anything like that?
No, I did not. I anticipated the snow starting much later, so I figured I'd have some time, but I didn't really have time after he called. I needed to clean up all my supplies, have something to eat, and get ready.
All right. So at or around 10 o'clock, what do you do?
10 o'clock, just before 10 o'clock, I'd say maybe quarter of, I take my vehicle out of the garage. I put my parents' vehicle in the garage so they don't have to worry about cleaning snow off of it. Then I drive to Home Depot where my plow truck is parked behind there where our salt shed is. I start my truck. I go over my pre-trip inspection to make sure my truck's safe for operation, make sure it has oil in it, coolant, windshield washer fluid. I then go over and start the front end loader. I let that warm up. I go in, I log into my tablet so I can log into the application site photos, which keeps track of my time card. It also keeps track of where I am plowing and salting. I then went to the loader. I grabbed 2-3 buckets of salt. I filled up my truck, covered over the salt, made contact with my boss, let him know I was ready to go. He said, all right, start running your route.
Okay. Up until that point in time, had you gotten any sleep?
No, sir.
Sounds like it was very active at the beginning at 10 o'clock.
Yes. Yeah.
Who do you work for, by the way? I don't know if we ever covered that.
I work for North Atlantic Snow.
And how long have you been working for them?
This would have been last year was my 3rd season.
3rd season?
That's correct.
When it's not snowing, how do you make a living?
When it's not snowing, I do car audio and electronic installs.
Where do you do that?
I do some on the side at my house. I also work from time to time for Speed of Sound in Somersworth.
All right. So, what was your agenda starting at 10 o'clock? What were your jobs? Give the jury an idea of just what you do. I mean, most of us are in bed when you guys are out doing this.
Correct.
Right. What's going on?
So we do all commercial application or commercial properties. We do big box stores, like I said, we start at Home Depot. We also have government, we do district courts, we do healthcare facilities, we do urgent cares, hospitals, We do pharmacies, Walgreens. We do gas stations. We have Cumberland Farms. We have Irving. We have auto parts stores. I have Advanced Auto Parts. We do properties for Rochester Housing Authority. We have 4 or 5 of those in Rochester. We also do for the Postal Service, United Postal Service in Gonick and in Rochester. I also service the Lee Urgent Care, Lee Dollar General, Lee Walgreens, Lee Aroma Joe's, and then there's also condo associations we do work for in Rochester.
All right. So you got a lot of contracts.
We do. Approximately probably 45 in the Rochester area.
How many do you have to serve?
So what happens is when we start out, I'm the main person for the company when it comes to going out to start with. I go around and start running all of the properties. As soon as it starts snowing heavier or more help is needed, we'll call in our subcontractors. With the snowing, there's no way we could one person could take care of all those properties. So as it starts snowing heavier, I condense my route down to a couple of gas stations, the Irving on Columbus Avenue, the Advanced Auto Parts on Columbus Avenue, the 2 Rochester Housing Authority properties off of Brock Street, the Gonick Post Office, the Gonick Circle K or Irving, and Bramber 2 Condo Association on Old Dover Road.
All right, so now we're into April 4th, correct?
Yes.
And have you been plowing all day?
I'd been plowing all night of April 3rd into April 4th in the morning. During the afternoon, snow slowed down a little bit, so we got to do some cleaning up and maybe applying some salt. And then April 4th in the evening, it started coming down pretty well, which that evening was the first time I've ever experienced thunder snow. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it was coming down at a very heavy clip.
Again, had you gotten any sleep?
No, sir.
At some point in time, did things slow down? Did you get to start thinking maybe it's time to go home?
So later on in the day on April 4th, it definitely started to slow down. I got a call from my boss, I'd say around 9 o'clock. He asked me if I had any salt left on my truck. I said I did. He said, well, if you can go and put a heavy application down on Hannaford on Milton Road, after that you can go, take a break. We're going to be meeting back at Home Depot at 2 a.m. to start running a salt route and coordinating what we're going to do for cleanups for the day.
Okay. So you were getting ready to wrap it up for a while?
That's correct.
What was your plan? How were you going to go about finishing your evening?
I had brought my daughter to work. I did forget about that. I brought my daughter to work the day earlier that day. I don't want her driving in the snow. There's no reason to. I'm out and about in a 4-wheel drive pickup truck. No reason for her to be driving. So she was getting out of work at 10 o'clock. So I was going to Shortyville Plaza over in East Rochester to pick her up and then head home.
Okay. And where does she work?
She works at Rochester House of Pizza.
So, in fact, did you pick her up that evening?
I did.
And was it at around 10 o'clock?
It was around 10 o'clock.
And what did you guys do after you picked her up?
Well, she got in the truck. We said, how's it going? Good. We started heading down Eastern Avenue. We turned on Summer Street. And then I came up to the house.
Okay. Jason, at this time we're going to play a video. And with the court's permission, if he could get closer to the television, he has an eyesight problem.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.